Welcome to another Railroads Online Showcase video, M.I.A. edition. We are back at the Ironworks. Yeah, this area has finally gotten a huge update that would actually make it usable, at least in theory. In practice, it still needs at least one helper engine, and it also doesn't have any supplies yet, and I need to deal with the coal mine first before getting anywhere here. But since the coal mine base camp and this station are kinda intertwined, I try to build up both at the same time. Spoiler alert, a lot of the stuff here might be temporary and I'll just be using it at least for a while until I figure out what I need to be, or where I need to add a few more things here and there in order to make everything work perfectly. So the station can be divided into 3 different parts. Let me just quickly get the map up. We are at the bottom center of the map. So just around that little grey part there, which is of course the Ironworks building. We are just north of that. So this is the area for collecting the steel pipes and the tools. Coming in from the west end with empty cars, you would put that train onto this track over here to the left. And it just has a end of track device further down the line, so this is just a parking area essentially. Then you would leave the train there and come around to this part where I would park my helper engine, if I had one. It's work in progress. Maybe I'll make do and just use the Betsy for the beginning. Might get a proper helper engine later down the line, but the Betsy would be alright here if I don't need it for anything else. Then again, I need a lot of helper engines at different stations, but we'll get to that. So yeah, you get into the helper engine, fire it up, go down onto this track and then just start disassembling the train from the rear. So you grab a few of the cars and put them onto this track here. And then if it's cars to put the pipes on, you bypass the tool area and just have them filled up with the steel pipes. Once the cars are full, you put them a bit further down the line, come back, grab a few more cars and continue that whole thing until this side is empty. It only has the engine on it, which you can then come back in and turn around on the turntable, reconnect to this side of the train and then just be on your merry way. If you want to get some tools, you just put the boxcar onto this track and just have the thing fill up automatically. It's over 30 boxes per large boxcar, so that's gonna take a while, which is why I made this area bypassable. So you can at the start put one of the boxcars onto this, then just deal with pipes while this fills up and then later come back to grab a boxcar. It doesn't get in the way of anything else, that's what I want to say. So besides this area, we also have the other side where you can drop off the supplies for the building. And this can be done in 2 different modes. First up, where you come back from one of these tracks. And you can either do a driving drop off, in which case you will go on the left track and just slowly drive by with the train and drop off the stuff as you go. There is a bit of an issue where sometimes, or at least there used to be, I haven't tested if it is still the case. Sometimes when you drop off stuff it just gets deleted instead of being put into storage. It has to do with this being a multi-item drop-off area. So my guess is that the drop-off points are kind of areas that go over the platform, as you would expect, and they are scanning for any item to fall onto them. And if they detect an item that is a drop there, but they cannot pick up because, for example, it is a piece of raw iron, but it lands in the coal collection area, it's then deleted. If they just allowed the thing to just sit there until it naturally respawns, maybe then the other side would have the option to detect that there's actually a thing that it can pick up, and then the entire thing would hopefully work. At least that's what I imagine the issue might be, and if that's the case, that would be a suitable solution. never had that issue with any stuff where it's not like double pickup thing, like on that end. But yeah, so much about this. This is something that you can do with rolling drop-off. If you want to do a stationary drop-off, you might be better off also disassembling the train. So you can put the entire train onto this side of the track, go to the other end where you will find a turntable to turn around the engine, come back on this side and then just do the helper engine thing of taking the train apart from the rear and just parking the different cars in front of the platforms and unloading them, and then just pushing them further down the track, and eventually all of the cars will be here empty and you can just reconnect everything and drive off again from the direction you came from, or towards the direction you came from, whatever. So yeah, that's basically both of these areas. I think the one thing I want to do soonish is kind of combine them. Not necessarily much in terms of how they work here, but at least the ends that go both in this direction. They are pretty close to each other anyway, so my idea is make another 2 parallel tracks in this area, connect everything together with switches at that end towards the turntable, and then connect these 2 tracks to the other tracks that I want to build here. That would allow me to, in case I come down here, have a lot of empty cars, but not enough stuff in the Ironworks to actually produce enough of the steel pipes. I could then at least pull the engine a bit further forth and get it out of this area, instead of it kind of being stuck here at the end of track device with empty cars behind it until those are all removed and filled up. So that would be an option. And I think considering the entire layout and how it all turned out, I think that would be okay. I was considering to put these to run around tracks on the other side, so have them go further south into this little gap there. But I went the other way, and now putting them all together kind of seems like a reasonable solution. Another thing this area needs, and I think that's gonna be a bit further to the west, outside of the reach of the map that I made here, it's likely gonna be just a little supply area or pit lane or what you want to call it. So just a cooling tower, water tower, and whatever else you need, firewood depot, etc. But yeah, that's so much about this part. Let's now take a quick look at the base camp for the coal operation. This thing is a fully built out station, which is really only going to be temporary unless I find that it actually already works to what exactly I need. Right now I have no idea how many different tracks I need, I just have a rough estimate. And I think we might be on the shorter side anyway, so I'll see if I can do with this. So right now we have 5 different tracks, some of them with a bit of a roof above them, just to make this look a bit less basic. And yeah, on this side, this track is where I want to put all the different engines for the operations. I also have a turntable here, just basically for any incoming train with some supplies, so that they can drop off the supplies, turn the engine around and leave again. This is likely going to be a case where operating this, bringing all the stuff up to the coal mine, is going to take possibly multiple trips. Kind of depends on how it goes. The incline is 7% and I'm kind of set on using climaxes for this. Initially I didn't want to, but I recently found out that actually with the last update they may have fixed the climax, so you don't get any wheel slip anymore once you turn the regular up to full, and that makes it actually usable. Otherwise it's okay if you're just having one engine, but my plans are having either 2 or 4. So back to back climaxes, if you will. So the general idea is getting at least 2 climaxes to begin with and testing how much they can carry. One of the climaxes will go to one side of the train when you have all the different cars, and then the other climax to the other side. There's also a switchback somewhere in the mountains that I will always have to go through. Yeah, it's a single one, so no double pair where the train ends up in the same direction as it started going in. And yeah, I'll just see how far I can get with 2 climaxes. If I need 4 of them, it will be 1 climax at the front facing this direction, then another one behind it facing the other direction, then all the cars, and then the kind of same setup with the engines on the other end. Gonna be interesting no matter how it goes. I've never really used that track yet, even though I built it quite a while ago. And the other way this connects is going down this direction towards all the different junctions. You go through the first plus junction. Oh no, you go, I just read the entire map wrong, I'm an idiot, I'm sorry. You go into the switch here and go to the right. The left switch would be for delivering some coal directly from the coal mine to the drop-off point at the Ironworks. And yeah, you go this way, then over the four-way junction. Yeah, four-way junction, the crossover piece, and then just straight up into the mountains. That's where the incline begins. And that's where the journey really starts, and I'm excited for it. It's likely gonna be in the next video, but first up I need a bit more money for getting at least 2 engines. So much about this area though, it's been a lot, and yeah, this is part of the stuff that I'm considering on buying. Definitely the highest priority to get 2 climax engines. Now to the freight depot. I had a bit of a cleanup over here. When I started building in this area, it was only the western side to start out with. So a little runaround track and then a dead end track over here, which is right now running into a wall, and this track on top is the new main line, so that it can go over the entire thing without just going right into the runaround track and kind of into the thing that's specific to this industry. But yeah, the issue was I had this track on this side, and then eventually once I built the whole switchback area, I came down on this side and I wanted to connect this platform as well. So I started, as I did on that one, by just building a track here in parallel with the platform. Problem is this area is a tiny bit lower than the other one, and it's actually a bit significant. So that track was a bit lower, and it was kinda bad with how low it went to the ground in that area. So what I ended up doing, I came onto the other side and just put down one of the switches, connected that to the track here, and then just built over to the other side. Did a bit of trickery to get the exact distance from the platform that I wanted, and then I just started building from here. Also a bit of this trickery to make sure that the end of track device is at the right distance from the wall here that I wanted. But this is basically the thing that I changed, and then I ripped out a whole bunch of track here and built it back up slightly higher. Another thing that I did is I reworked one of the switchbacks because the runoff track didn't do it for me. So coming down from this direction, you go into the first switchback. That goes up, I think, into a 3% line, and that's kind of perfect for slowing you down the right amount, so you don't need to brakes all that often, and it's not so steep that you actually need to power the engine in order to get high up enough to clear the entire switch with a train. On the other side, however, I didn't remember how I built this area, so on the other side I only went with 2%. Even though I think it was a bit longer, I still ended up wrecking a train on the way down, and yeah, that definitely had to be addressed. Which I did, and now it's also a 3%, and I think it's again still a bit longer. In the future I'll likely be extending these anyways, just so I can run longer trains down here. I wonder if you could do something with splitting the train apart and running parts of it, but that would be really complicated. So I don't think I'll be doing that. But yeah, that's rework of this part. Let's now take a look at one specific train, which I've been dealing with for the past while. We are at the smelter, and it can therefore only be the Cordwood train. This thing is a beast. I finally managed to get it to 48 Cordwood cars, which is a lot, and will be working alongside the entire length of the train to demonstrate just how much that is. And yeah, in order to get this up to this point, I needed to buy an ETWNC, so the strongest non-gear engine in the game and definitely the most expensive one. And yeah, this one is just here to only deal with cordwood. I could of course use this for other general road operations, but right now I want to restrict myself from using this anywhere else, because again, with its high top speed and amazing power, it would make everything else obsolete, and I don't want that. So yeah, only be using this to deal with cordwood, and in order to get everything up here, I needed to double head the entire thing with Gordy smelters over here. Only thing I'm going to change in the future is run this one first and then put this engine behind the other. Just so I can, once I come here, disconnect this engine, put it onto a track and then into the shed over here. And I can then get going with class 48 right away at delivering all the cordwood. But this train is actually, it's amazingly long. I put a... God damn it. Okay, now this time without being drunk. Thank you. I put a caboose at the end, which is basically only there to see that if it's still there once the trip is over, that the train isn't split apart. Because otherwise you could easily lose a few cars without it falling into weight or without it being noticeable. And I don't want to count through all of the different cars anymore. Not counting up to 48 here. I made sure that it is 48 once, and that should be good. So yeah, coming around the turn here, I put the entire train up a bit too much to the front. If it was a bit more to the back, it would actually fit the runaround track that I built for it pretty perfectly. There's always a bit of wiggle room, which is nice, but it's not like obscenely too short for this entire thing. It kind of looks like it fits pretty well. So yeah, if I back the entire thing up by the length of the two engines or something, it would go to somewhat like here, I guess, which is pretty good. So yeah, that's the Cordwood car, and the Cordwood train. It's up to 48, as I mentioned. So the last thing I want to talk about is a bit more regarding my general state of the road engines. By the way, I almost forgot the most important thing. You may have seen that, but it's the 6th engine that I own. Its name is Woody, and it's of course part of the Trains Co. Trains Co. stands for Transportation, Railways and Industry Networking Specialist, which I wrote here on the tender. This is the first tender engine that I have. Everything else is a tank engine, so without an external tender, and therefore I can only put down the name. But yeah. Transportation, Railways and Industry Networking Specialists. Took me a while to come up with that, so I wanted to at least show it off once. As far as other engines are concerned, here we have my stake car train. I enhanced it from 16 cars to 24. And sadly that means that the Ruby Basin is no longer able to pull everything up here with a 2% incline. I don't know if I want to use fewer cars, just keep double heading the stuff with a radius here as I did the last time in order to get everything up. Or maybe completely rework the entire track to only have like 1.5% as I did in the other save. Or just 1% if possible, but that would likely mean a lot of loops in order to get down to the place. I don't know. I could theoretically even eventually at least buy another Ruby base and double head those. But again, once I get to just building another top level road engine or buying one, I mean, it's gonna be alright. So yeah, I'm kind of looking into getting maybe a replacement for the radius here. The 10 mile is a nice engine, especially on the legacy version, but with unlocked top speed for the cars, this thing is a bit slow. It's pretty much perfect speed for legacy version. I don't think it would ever have any of the cars derail. It's pretty much as fast as it can be. But on this version, something like with Lenbrook would actually be able to go faster. And the Lenbrook would then also be the first engine that I buy that is powered by firewood instead of coal. Everything else is a coal engine, and I just don't care that I can't refuel them because they're never going empty anyways. So yeah, in this version, 10 mile not that amazing anymore, sadly. I wonder if they are going to do something that addresses that, make a few more of the engines a bit faster. I think for something like this, I don't know what the actual top speed of a real one is, but for the price and everything, I think it could be a bit faster. Especially the Montezuma. I think it would be amazing if a Montezuma was just the fastest engine in the game, but it just can't pull a lot of stuff, so you need a lot of time and definitely a track without any incline in order to get to the top speed. But that's theory crafting. What we have here is something that doesn't really work too much right now, so I guess I'll be using both of them to get stuff up here. I don't know if I want to reduce the amount of cars that I use. Maybe go down to 18? That would be alright. I don't know. I'll make up my mind eventually. But next thing we have to do is get up over there to the coal mine. And that will hopefully happen next video. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Hope you enjoyed. Bye bye.